Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Disco Elysium with me, Bring It On. So the plan right now is we're going to look at our ledger and try and work through the case files, hoping that nets us some experience. If it doesn't, it should kill enough time so that we can go speak to the smoker in his apartment after 9 p.m. When I level up, instead of putting the point into savoir faire and try this jump again, what I think I'm going to do instead is put it into physical instrument. Because even if I put the point into savoir faire, it's still going to be less than 50% chance of me succeeding that jump. But if I put it into physical instrument, that should bump my chances of knocking Measurehead out above 50%. So I think that's a better use of my skill point than trying to this jump again, because the odds still are in my favor. But for now, let's look at our ledger.
It's the ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's barely held together by a clip, then made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner.
Slide the hidden drawer open.
Without resistance or sound, the two panels move against each other. The compartment is now open. Inside, you see 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard.
Close the permeables compartment.
It's slightly, ever so slightly, difficult to breathe once you've done so. The drawer is locked. Blue ink drips from the white pages in your hand.
Alright, let's read a case file.
It takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. Which one do you want?
The Next World mural.
This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. The text cut into their form reads, "True love is possible, only in the next world. For new people, it is too late for us. Wreak havoc on the middle class. People call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove the bummer. You and your partner are assigned to the case. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the bell lectures have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the Next World mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown.
Wait, do I ever find out who came up with it?
The case files do not show you finding the author of the design.
Read on.
The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of Row 3. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between 2 options.
I'm not against street art, and just going based off of that opinion, I'm going to say keep the mural, it is right.
A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us.
Yeah, the middle class are not to be blamed. It's human nature.
Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Or are we done?
Hey, but we get experience for it. Awesome. The unsolvable case.
AKA Leslie and Burke. AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it, it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most civilians in Jamrock, know it's unsolvable. You were so drunk you didn't remember what it was when you signed on. That, or you were high. Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man, and you can't lock them away because public indecency and small-scale property damage are not punishable by incarceration.
I think you can change the nature of a man. But the real question is, what can change the nature of a man?
The only way for Leslie to stop flashing his genitals to bypassers and for Burke to stop dismantling signage and rear-view mirrors would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which, in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability on par with you ceasing to produce the expression.
Couldn't we just keep them off the streets?
You would think that, but you're wrong. Where's the fun in exposing your genitals or breaking stuff in your own home? No, Leslie and Burke are on the corner of Main Street and Perdition because that's where the action is. Can you keep yourself off the streets?
Proceed.
Threatening fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop, as they hadn't stopped for 10 years. It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill every time you drive down Main Street. Because there they are, on the corner of Perdition. And what is Leslie doing?
Public indecency.
Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. But then again, so are you. The case becomes considerably less comic one day when Burke takes a swing at your ledger. He must have it confused with the property he likes to damage, but the joke's on him. You're drunk out of your mind on potent Pilsner. You slam the hardened plastic board in his face, then you proceed to beat him unconscious with it. In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry, reports Leslie, who, at this point, is tending to Burke. He came at us, and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news is, Burke can't walk anymore. Can't get out of his apartment, an invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke, who knows, but both drunks are off the street. The complaints stop. The unsolvable case is solved.
I know it's a pretty dark description, but this part, maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke. Who knows? It's hilarious.
Which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one?
Alright, we're going to put a point into physical instrument. Again, I'd much rather be unequipping one of my thoughts, especially one of the detrimental ones that I don't really see a reason to have. But we're going to do this instead. Let's go ahead and keep doing this. The square bullet hole murders.
It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seems to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole in her skull, staring at the wall, her mouth agape.
But
that's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, All you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. You never found the bullet. And then another body showed up, also with a square hole in his forehead.
A sequence killer?
Who knows? Those pages are missing. What next? Don't worry. One day you may still catch the man with the square gun.
The couch in an unexpected location.
Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung out on it. In the middle of the street, on the roof, on the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young, and they thought they looked cool on it.
Yeah, they looked really cool. Like a rock band.
Yes, as you've said here, insufferable rock and roll assholes. Young people are the worst. So anyway, you got a complaint about the damn sofa, or couch, or whatever it was.
Love seat. I think that's all I know for couch.
They were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took it, too, where they also took photos of themselves on it, and smoked cigarettes, because they felt it's intellectual.
He skipped the and drank coffee part.
Cigarette butts, coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up, and you did. So congratulations to you. Case solved.
Did I ever catch those guys?
No, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what is called a real goddamn job. You don't have time to be chasing down the couch assholes. You have a real job to do. What next?
Murder at the hookah parlor.
Murder. Tum-tum-tum. At the hookah parlor was a case originally assigned to an officer called Joseph Mills, who is now dead, of circumstances completely unconnected to murder at the hookah parlor.
Wait, how?
Beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner J.M., only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. It's a sad story, and it isn't really represented in your case files. Stop stalling and get to the murder at the hookah parlor.
Right. On with the murder.
Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve. Was doing it solo. Said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister. Was on it for, like, a month. The captain got impatient. Shit or get off the pot, Mills. Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory, as outlandish as they seemed. Still couldn't solve the murder at the hookah parlor. Tough case, he said. Toughest he's ever had.
Wait, was Joseph Mills a good cop?
No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, he'd been on it for months now. Said it was the final case. Said it was uncrackable. That murderer vanished into thin air. That goddamn hookah parlor was all he talked about.
Go on.
Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum-flavored vapor all day.
Really stupid.
Yeah, so anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor, in the middle of the day. No one else is in there, only client that day. In perfect health too. Some kind of movie producer. No one enters, no one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing. Just sucking on the hookah until 15:45. Then bam, he's dead on the floor with his skull busted open, blood everywhere. What happened? How can it be? Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin, movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man just dropped dead. So you go to the parlor. You see cushions around the table. Tables low, heavy, really sharp edge.
He sucked hookah, stood up, passed out, hit his head on the table, and died.
See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out Hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply, and you don't notice it until you get up to go to the bathroom.
And what was he doing there for 6 hours?
Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Trying to come up with a movie script, maybe. Anyway, that was Murder at the Hookah Parlor. Joseph Mills wasn't a good detective, and about 30 minutes has passed piecing it together. Next. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard.
Alright, let's go try Motorhead again. Actually, better idea. We're gonna go speak to the smoker instead. Deal with that before we go talk to Motorhead. Or not Motorhead, Measurehead. Whatever his darn name is. She's still up there. Yeah, I assume Measurehead isn't going to go anywhere. Oh, what's this? Yeah, I assume he'll be guarding that switch day and night, so I don't feel pressure for time. Where with the smoker, we're to speak to him in the evening, so may as well get that done while it's evening. Yeah, there he is being... Oh, never mind. I thought he was like hanging outside of the door, being weird, but no, he's standing outside.
Gendarmerie, you found me.
The young man on the balcony gives you a bright smile, before taking another drag from his cigarette.
His slender figure is backlit by city lights, its distant streets and motorways flashing like diamonds. And his shirt is still unbuttoned.
We got your hint. Found the key right under that stone.
Beautiful.
He replies smiling. As he looks at you, something sparkles in his eyes.
So tell me, are you here to make things right again?
That's what I'm aiming for, yes.
Beautiful.
He says again. A nearby street lamp casts shadows on his chin, drawing out the slender cheekbones.
I have some good news for you. My Sunday friend is visiting me tonight. I told him about you and he'd like to say hello. Step in. He's already waiting.
He nods towards door number 28. By the way, I'm really digging the view here. Point to the city skyline.
Mm-hmm. That's why I chose this place. Martinez is special, isn't it?
He looks away, his cigarette end glowing in the dark.
Wait. Suddenly you're digging things?
Lieutenant whispers to you, shaking his head. Why would I want to meet your friend?
Trust me. You do.
Very well, I'll talk to him. But first I want to talk to you. I have so many questions.
That's nice, but I don't have anything to tell you. It's my friend you're looking for, not me.
He takes another drag of his unfiltered cigarette and looks around. It's getting dark and the neighboring windows have lit up one by one. Downstairs, a cat crosses the yard, disappearing into the bush.
Besides, I've got to run.
He's going to leave you alone again. That's sad.
Run where?
To the city. It's a beautiful night.
He gestures idly toward distant motorways. Only if you promise that we'll talk again. It's important.
Something flutters in the corner of the lieutenant's mouth as you're saying those words.
We'll talk. Just not tonight.
The smoker assures you, brushing his hand through the hair.
Take care, alright?
Ooh, 70 experience. He says with another disarming smile before slipping off into the night.
And he's gone again. Looks like it's becoming a theme for him.
There's something so different about him that I just can't put my finger on.
Different, of course.
Wait, oh, am I becoming infatuated with him? That's not what I intended. His shirt. Why is his shirt always unbuttoned?
His shirt.
Lieutenant squints his eyes, trying to hold back laughter. His shirt.
His shirt.
He's trying to dive deep into the mysteries of his shirt.
His shirt. No, I don't know why his shirt is always unbuttoned.
His mouth tightens, as though trying to hold something back.
Come on, detective, let's go. We've got a potential witness to interview. His Sunday friend, remember?
He nods at the apartment door before you. A quarterly business magazine. An old photo of the same apartment, dated year 01. Governmental issues take me all over Revachol, as you can see. Expensive men's perfume lingers in the air. Yeah, I wonder if he's supposed to be a male escort. Someone is always watching. Dishes soaked up in a pot. An empty ashtray. Flyers for underground parties. Dates for open lectures at a local university. Exquisite canopy bed made of metal. Buckets of paint on a layer of old newspapers. Sumerian conical hat, or conical hat? +1 logic, -1 suggestion. This tawny cone-shaped hat looks like a beacon of Sumerian wisdom, its straws sticking up like antennas. Thank God you can't really see people's reactions when they see you strolling around in this incredibly insensitive headpiece. Party Dragon Silk Robe. +1 drama, +1 electrochemistry. The sleazy, silky bathing robe in vibrant blues features a roaring dragon on its front, ready to take off into the night. A red belt has been provided for fastening. It's culturally insensitive, but only for people who are not from Seoul. The real Seoulites probably don't care. Alright, let's speak to his Sunday friend. I don't think conclusions should be rushed at Z's point.
Officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia.
The man in business casual removes his cufflinks.
My name is Charles Vildrouin, and I am an official with the coalition government. I work for the Institute of Price Stabilité on assignment from Monsieur Laclé. I heard you talking to my friend outside. Very good. Super. I am here to assist you in any way possible. Ask me about the hanging.
Hanging? What a drag. He seems like a cultured gentleman. You should ask him about the finer things.
Point at the bed. Before we go on, I absolutely have to inquire about this wonderful canopy.
Oh yes, my friend has a great eye for these things. He refuses to tell me where it came from. It's a mystery. I believe they call this type of frame industrial. It's very comfy.
He smiles.
That's really all I can tell you about it.
He forms a little rooftop with his fingers. Cold air sweeps in from the balcony.
The lieutenant takes out his notebook and nods to you to proceed.
You actually witnessed the lynching.
I'm sorry to say I did, officer.
The man gives a solemn nod. Turns to the lieutenant. This is just the break we've been looking for.
Easy, detective. No need to jump to conclusions.
He eyes the spectacled man near the window, who smiles and spreads his hands. Is it because you did it, Mr. Villadrun?
Because I did it?
The man scoffs. My apologies. I misspoke. I mean, what did you see?
Officer, it's very difficult to describe what I saw that night. It was so surreal to me, like in a play.
He holds out his hands and blossoms his fingers, like a drama teacher setting the scene.
What do you mean, like in a play?
Lieutenant is already scribbling down notes.
It was just so strange. I could barely comprehend what was happening. I was on the balcony when it happened, getting some fresh air. I remember that first they came in, carrying what looked like a body. And then I saw all the surrounding windows go dead, one by one. That's when I understood. I should not be seeing this.
Sounds like the victim was unconscious, or at least incapacitated. Interesting.
Who were they? Can you describe them?
I couldn't see their faces well, and there were quite a few of them. But they were very loud and very Martinez.
He pauses, looking for the right wording.
Let's just say that the laboring classes can get rather expressive with their profanities.
How many of them were there?
I couldn't tell you exactly. Less than 10. Maybe 8?
The lieutenant sends you a sharp look at the mention of that number.
Were any of them huge? Like 200 kilograms huge?
That's a giant you're describing. No, they were all quite human, as far as I could tell.
What happened next?
I went back inside.
Were you able to see anything from inside?
Officer, the yard was pitch black. There was nothing to see, but I could still hear their voices. They were threatening to kill that poor man.
Were they men? Women?
All men, I presume. But again, I couldn't see very clearly.
But we are fairly certain the lady driver was present.
Yeah, I'm glad he brought that up. So there, I'm really glad there's continuity between the conversations like that. Let's see, Lieutenant flips through his notes. Are you sure at least one of them wasn't a woman?
It's possible, officer, but I cannot say with certainty. It was very dark, you must remember.
What ethnicity were they?
I believe they were mostly white, though I believe I saw 2 Areopagites among them. And I am quite certain that one spoke with a Mesk accent.
What happened next?
Well, that's the strangest part, officer. Nothing happened. It was oddly quiet for a public lynching.
What do you mean nothing happened? They lynched a guy.
Eventually, their shouts died down, and that was all. There were no gunshots, no celebratory shouts, no anything.
Why didn't you call the RCM?
You're right, of course. That is what one is supposed to do in such circumstances. I was simply in shock.
The man wipes his glasses.
I'm afraid I don't have anything else to add.
About what time was all this happening, approximately?
All I can say is that it was late.
So let me get this straight. You didn't actually witness the hanging itself, did you?
No, I didn't see the corpse until the following day.
It seems this wasn't the break you were hoping for. I think we have everything we need. Thank you for talking to us, Mr. Villedroit.
Lieutenant says, closing his notebook.
Of course, anything I can do to assist the RCM.
What's an official like you doing at Martinez?
The coalition is only looking out for the price stability. Inflation is a killer, like a heart disease blocking the normal circulation of the economy. It must be controlled. The economy impacts the entire international community, which is why it requires international oversight.
Okay, but what are you doing here in this apartment?
Well, I'm renovating it. It is an interesting project. The building used to be a 12-story skyscraper before the cannons took the top 4 stories off. This, of course, happened when the coalition forces landed here. You could say I'm undoing some of the material damage the international community caused when we arrived here.
So you're some kind of bureaucrat.
Yes, as I said before, I am a commissioner from Sur-la-Clé working for the Institute of Price Stability. This is one of the main projects of the Moral Inter.
He glances at his watch.
Wait, there isn't actually an Institute of Price Stability, is there? Or maybe there is. God, it's impossible to understand whether someone from the Moral Intern is joking or not.
What is this international community?
La Communauté Internationale is what Revacholians colloquially call the coalition. In other words, the nations that stopped the disaster of the revolution.
And what do I call the coalition?
Your employer, technically speaking, the governing authority of Rivachol. The RCM is but one part of this provisional administration.
What is the price stabilite? Stabilita?
It is the most important thing.
That doesn't tell me anything.
It's the central goal of any sound monetary policy. Maintaining the price stability is essential to maintaining high levels of economic activity, which is essential for maintaining high levels of employment, which is essential for maintaining the social stability.
I'm used to this accent mark being like a eh sound, not a e sound.
Basically, it makes sure the price of bread doesn't change.
Précisément. Too much inflation, bread becomes too expensive. Too much deflation, it becomes too cheap for bakers to produce. That's why the Institute of Price Stability works to keep inflation just below 2%.
Below 2% of what?
But not too far below, no. Too below is also bad. Below, but close to 2%.
You're not answering my questions at all.
The coalition believes in the importance of informing the public about the benefits of the price stability. Transparency is one of our principles. Would you like an informational pamphlet?
Okay, sure. Give me a leaflet.
A sound monetary policy is essential for addressing uncertainty. Stability is the raison d'être of the moral intern. It's the reason why I identify as a moralist. But oh, I don't have my leaflets on me today. That's too bad. You can always call our information line. Making information available is part of the moral intern's commitment to transparency.
I've heard about this moral intern before, but I want to know more.
It's the International Organization for Moralists, hence Moralist International. The Institute of Price Stability is just one of its many mind babies, as is the coalition.
Oh, turn to Kim. So we're actually working for the moral intern. That doesn't seem so bad.
There are more nefarious powers to work for than the moral intern.
He nods. Turn back to Sunday Friend. Are you a moralist? He already said that he was.
But of course.
But why?
Because moralists believe in a normal, stable world governed by democratic values.
Turn to Kim. Lieutenant, are you a moralist?
Me? I'm a lieutenant of the RCM, dedicated to maintaining law and order in Rivachol.
A very moralist answer.
The man nods.
The lieutenant is practiced in the art of putting on a show for one's superiors.
But what is a normal, stable world?
The Occident is part of the normal world. Oranje, sur la clé.
Martinez doesn't seem very normal, or stable to me.
Martinez? No. Martinez is something else.
What about the rest of Revachol? Is it part of the normal world?
Rivachol is generally difficult. It's led by an interim government, which means it hasn't yet achieved full democracy. But they are working towards it. You're all doing very well here, relatively speaking.
He gives you an approving nod. It's like every time I'm talking to people, I'm choosing option D, none of the above. Is that moralism?
Is this option D usually the most reasonable answer?
Yes. Everything else is super extreme. It's like I'm living with a bunch of lunatics.
Sounds like you're a moralist indeed, my friend. Welcome. Moralism is all about compromise and achieving the achievable. It's pragmatic, realistic, and level-headed, an ideology for doers. Are you a doer, my friend? It looks to me like you are. Now, enough of this delightful political interlude. Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Tell me about Sherlock Clef.
What's there to say? Sur-la-Clé is a modern,
Sur-la-Clé.
urbanized country that measures very high on the Human Development and Freedom Index. Mostly, though, it's known as the executive heart of EPIS. Moreover, it is a great sponsor of less emerged countries. Rivachol is only one of its many darlings whose progress it supports and cherishes.
What makes Revachol Sherlock-Cle's darling?
Because a great percentage of Rivachol's culture hails from Sur-la-Clé. Its language,
sure.
its people, its cuisine even. Or at least in the downtown La Delta area.
Jamrock and other parts of the international zone have been mercifully spared of Sir Leclerc's love for meatballs and mashed potatoes.
Sherlock-Clay. See, they keep throwing different pronunciations at me, so it's hard for me to keep it all straight. Tell me about Araignée.
Oranje is an exemplary nation who, as a core member of EPIS, contributes 28% of our annual budget. Next to Sur-la-Clé, Oranje is probably the most prominent member of the international community.
Which one of them is more EPIS?
As founding members, they are both very EPIS. Oranje carries a lot of political weight, while Sur-la-Clé takes care of the business side of things. Sur-la-Clé hosts the headquarters of the major EPIS institutions.
Okay, but outside of EPIS, what is Oranje?
Oranje's economy is one of the most advanced in the world. It has successfully transitioned from heavy industry to advanced services and generally acts as an engine for sustainable change in the international community.
Can you just talk like a normal person?
About what?
About Oranje. Just tell me what it's like there.
Oh, it's very urban and very well organized. Their streets are clean, their horse cars run on time, the people are polite and efficient. Like I said, they are an example for less emerged nations to follow.
Alright, enough business. Let's talk about something else.
Whatever you wish, officer.
Can you tell me about your friend?
Ah, my friend. My friend is a good young man. His family immigrated here from Kedra, and life has not been easy for him. But he understands the importance of education. He has taken his future into his own hands, and that's all that matters.
What's Kedra?
Kedra is a candidate member of APIS. But, between you and me, their potential membership is a more contentious issue.
What do you mean?
That it's never going to happen. They entered negotiations in 21, and it's been pending ever since.
What's this EPIS thing you keep talking about?
EPIS is a very special program developed by the Moral Intern to support certain Occidental nations. It began as a unified system of weights and measures, which proved to be a wild success. Nothing but kilograms and centimeters as far as the eye can see.
God, yes. Sweet standardization. The backbone of rationality and commerce.
It was such a wild success that we expanded it into an economic union for the processing of steel. Another success. And between you and me, the Moral Intern feels emboldened by this success. Emboldened to take EPIS to the next level.
Okay, but like, what does it stand for?
Why, it stands for progress and stability, like the Moral Intern as a whole.
No, what do the letters stand for?
It's been such a wild, extraordinary success thus far. We are very excited to take it to the next level.
Don't even hear the words I'm saying, do you?
A supranational political alliance. The United States of Occident.
Is it going to be like this place here?
You mean Revachol? No, it's going to have transparent democracy.
Is Revachol going to be part of EPIS?
It's one day going to be a candidate member of EPIS, sure.
Can you say that candidate members never become real members?
No. Candidate members do become members. Why do we even have the whole system in place if they don't? It just takes time. Time and evaluation.
This sounds just like a bureaucrat.
But we were talking about my friend here, not politics.
He chuckles gently. How did you two even become friends?
How did any of us become friends? Bad things happening on the insulin Isola? Oil platforms ablaze in the night, civil wars lasting for years. Finally, the international community is forced to step in.
What are you talking about? No one becomes friends that way.
Au contraire, it's how millions of people end up where they are, meeting the people they meet. It's how I came here, and my friend too.
You still haven't told me who he is.
Sorry, who?
Man throws a quick glance at his watch. Your friend, the smoker on the balcony. We were just talking about him.
But I told you, officer. He's a bright young man here to pursue his education. Education is the foundation of our future, especially the arts. It is a cornerstone of our civilization.
Fine, but what's his real name?
Officer, you have to understand. I can't give you his personal information. I'm sure you have your own methods and databases, right? Please don't put me in this situation.
So all you can tell me about him is that he's here to study the arts.
He's deeply enmeshed in the study of the fine arts, yes.
Which arts?
He's a truly free spirit. He likes all the arts. Perhaps graphic design, printmaking, who knows? The world is open wide for a talented youth like him.
What are you doing in his apartment by yourself?
I'm just enjoying the view.
The man smiles, nodding to the window. Enjoying the view. There's a dead body hanging in the tree.
A dead body we still need to get down, by the way.
I know. The lieutenant sighs.
Listen.
He says, raising his hand.
A baby is crying in the neighboring apartment.
Someone's baby is crying.
No, listen.
He says again, looking outside.
The Insulindian Bay.
What about it?
This place used to be a luxury accommodation before the revolution. Apartments, of course, were much bigger then. A few walls have been added here and there, leaving some of the tenants without a private bathroom or a kitchen. But the million real view stays. You can't take that away.
He knocks on the balcony door, his face mirrored in the darkened glass. I was asking about your friend.
My friend comes and goes. I'm sure you'll see him around. He's a busy bee.
I had something else in mind.
I'm all ears, officer.
Thanks. I've got all I need.
A moment, officer. Do you have everything you need from me? I'm afraid we won't have the chance to speak again once you leave.
Hold on. Why can't we talk later?
It's against diplomatic best practices for an official in my position to be discussing murders with local militiamen. And I'm pressed for time. After you leave, I should be leaving as well.
He pauses.
That's not the real reason he's so apprehensive. Men in his position shouldn't be seen loitering around in underprivileged young men's apartments in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something sketchy going on here. I'm pretty sure he's paying the smoker for companionship. I'm not going anywhere. I just want to take a look around this apartment.
Sure, go ahead. It's a beautiful space.
He glances at his watch.
Let me know if you have any further questions.
Like, well, that almost worked out perfectly. Alright, well, I think that's it. I'm gonna go tell him I'm done.
Was there anything else? Of course. I'm sorry I couldn't be the break you were looking for. Good luck with the investigation.
Alright, well, I guess that's it. So not a lot of new information. In fact, Titus Hardy and the Hardy Boys gave us more information about the murder than this guy did. Told us everything we needed to know, really. Alright, so I'm going to call the episode here. Oh, wait. Oh, I want to go grab those. Oh, sorry, I can't get up there yet. Never mind. I'm going to call the episode here. Off camera, I'm going to head back towards the... towards Measurehead, and we'll try and knock him out in the next episode. I have an extra skill point, so if I'm not happy with my chances, I'll just put another point in a physical instrument and take a swing at him. We'll see how that goes. I know Kim isn't interested in me doing that, but I figure if I'm successful, what does it matter, right? He won't have to shoot anybody, and I won't have to subscribe to his racist theory, and everyone will be happy. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one.